Reimagining Chapel. My name is Amanda Esco, and I am the Director of Religious Education here at the First Unitarian Church of Salt Lake City. Thank you for joining us today. I am so glad to be back in our space after our summer break. Your religious education staff here at First Church took the summer off. We're rested, we've recouped, we have new ideas, and we're glad to be back here with you. Let's begin today by lighting our chalice. Now, one new idea that we're coming in with this year is lighting our chalice with intentions and actions. So today, I'd like us to have the intention of understanding with the action of listening. Let's hear, as I say this chalice lighting, words that we created. We light this chalice with the spirit of understanding and the hope that we will listen to one another. We gather together in community to grow, to learn, and to serve. So each week we're going to do something similar to that as our chalice lighting words, and always end with that bit about being in community to grow, to learn, to serve. Because that's what we're all about here at the First Unitarian Church, being together and doing those things. Well, I want us to start this month with a little bit of listening. Now, we have done mindfulness exercises lots of different ways, but I want to bring us back to one of our favorites of listening to our singing bowl. Now we're going to do this 3 times. I'm going to ding our bowl, and as I ding it, as long as you hear it, I want you to breathe in and then take a deep breath out. Are you ready? Let's do that 2 more times. Deep breath in. And out. One more time. Deep breath in. And out. Taking moments together in silence helps strengthen the spirituality of our community. Thank you for engaging in this practice with me. Another thing we like to do here, that I was so glad to do this on Zoom and in person last week, is share our joys and concerns. Now, I want you to share your joys and concerns with whoever is with you right now. Parents, your friends, your partner, your dog. Share what's on your heart and on your mind, and I'll be right here waiting for you. Thank you for sharing your joys and concerns. Again, we do this when we're in person, we do this virtually, and asynchronously together when we're on YouTube. Lissa is here with us today with a new UU of the week. Again, we took the summer off, and I can't wait to hear who we're learning about today. Thank you, Lissa.
Hi, my name is Lissa Lander, and I am thrilled to be the Religious Education Assistant right here at the First Unitarian Church, Salt Lake City. I am so happy to welcome you back to a new year of Reimagining Chapel and to the UU of the Week. This week, we are going to learn about Sarah Josephine Baker. She was an epidemiologist before it was cool, and even before it was called that. We have learned from all of our recent experiences that epidemiologists study disease and work to keep entire cities and communities healthy. Sarah Josephine Baker was an accomplished physician who started many public health programs that benefited countless women and children, and She was also a Unitarian. Josephine Baker was born in 1873 in Poughkeepsie, New York. At the age of 16, she was in the midst of preparing to go to college at Vassar when her father and her brother both died of typhoid. She was inspired to instead study medicine, both to help support her family, but also to spare other families from loss. She went to the only medical school that accepted women at the time, the Women's Medical College of the New York Infirmary for Women and Children, founded by our own past UUs of the week, Doctors Elizabeth and Emily Blackwell. Dr. Baker started working in Hell's Kitchen. It was known as the worst slum in New York at the time, with several thousand people dying each week. Her task was to save the babies and to help the women who were trying to care for them. To do this, she focused on preventative medicine. Dr. Baker said in her book, Fighting for Life, quote, "The way to keep people from dying from disease, it struck me suddenly, was to keep them from falling ill. Healthy people don't die." It sounds like a completely witless remark, but at the time, it was a startling idea. She went on to say that preventative medicine had hardly been born yet and had no promotion in public health work. Dr. Baker trained and deployed a small army of nurses into the schools and out into the streets to help poor families. They provided clean milk and trained mothers to care for their babies. They were able to drastically lower the infant mortality rate by reducing a disease called dysentery and malnourishment, which means to not have enough food. She did this by teaching the women how to keep their babies clean and healthy. And Dr. Baker even invented infant formula by adding calcium and lactose to cow's milk to help keep those babies fed. Now, being one of the few female physicians at the time, Dr. Josephine Baker faced a lot of criticism, but she overcame it with her extensive knowledge and experience. She was asked to lecture on children's health at New York University Medical School. She said she would only do it if she was allowed to also study there. Oh, they said no, because, there still weren't very many women studying medicine in universities. But they could not find anyone else who was as knowledgeable about children's health as she was, so they finally agreed. And in 1917, Josephine Baker became the first woman to earn a doctorate in public health. Dr. Baker became well known for her accomplishments and was offered jobs in public health in London, France, and eventually she became the Assistant Surgeon General of the United States. She lived with her partner, Ida Alexa Ross Wiley, for most of her life, and she continued to improve public health through several prestigious appointments like to the League of Nations and the New York Department of Health until her death in 1945. I'm so happy to add Sarah Josephine Baker to our collection, and I thank you for joining me today to learn about our newest UU of the week.
Fall is in the air. We've gone back to school in person and online. The air is getting cooler, and we're back to church. Last week, we met online and in person for RE, and it was so much fun. It was a really busy day. Actually, it was a really busy week. Maybe too busy? It was so busy, I hardly had time to think. Let's see if what's inside our Wonder Box has something to have me start off this year with. Oh, it is a pair of headphones. And the theme for this month, listening. Like last year, each month at First Church we'll have a new theme. The theme for September is listening. We listen in all different kinds of ways. We listen to ourselves. We listen to each other. We listen to nature. Listening is our first step to connection. If we imagine ourselves as a big word web, like you see at school or at work, with your name, it would be in the center. Shooting out from us like tentacles would be all of the people and things and places and experiences that make up us. The lines connecting those things back to us is the spaces where listening needs to happen. Listening binds us to those connections. When we're not listening, our connections can become frayed and broken. Our seventh principle reminds us that we are part of an interconnected web of life. When we're not listening, it becomes easier for us to forget or break our connections within this web. Listening binds our web. Last week, when I was so busy, I had a really hard time listening to myself and others. I was so focused on these big, important things that, while they might be important, maybe they weren't really. I was so focused on my busy. I didn't listen to my friends when they tried to connect with me about things that were bothering them and things that they wanted to help me with. Being so busy, I didn't listen to my body, and I forgot to eat lunch, and I got a headache. I didn't listen to my heart, which wanted me to slow down and meditate. Mother Teresa said, listening is the beginning of prayer. I was so busy, I didn't listen or meditate or pray basically all week. I think if I had intentionally stopped thinking and acting like my busy was so important, I maybe would have recognized the web of my connections. I could have listened and understood what my friends were saying to me. I could have listened to my body and put my physical needs first. I could have listened to my soul and heard it aching for stillness and connection with the earth. I could have recognized that tending my garden tends my soul as well. My busy frayed the connections that I really needed to listen to. The busy covered up the hard work of listening with an open heart. It covered up my feelings of vulnerability. Busy allowed me to shut out things and people that I should have put forward. Well, now I see my busy as a problem. What can I do from here? I think everyone will have a different answer to this question. For myself, I really needed to lean back onto this month's theme of listening. I needed to sit still and listen to myself. That's not always easy. In fact, it's really, really hard. I think that's one reason we call meditating and mindfulness a practice. It's something you have to work on to quiet all of the noise and the things telling you you're too busy to slow down, to listen, to connect. We are always part of our interconnected web of existence. We just have to quiet and listen in order to recognize that sometimes. Well, thank you for joining us for Reimagining Chapel today. To find out more information about the First Unitarian Church of Salt Lake City, please visit us at slcuu.org. But until next time, let's heart out.
Each person is important. To be kind